Since the 7th of October 2023, Palestinians in Gaza have endured the most brutal and unprecedented levels of violence, compounded by the 16 years of Israeli blockade, which have turned into a humanitarian catastrophe. Nearly 1 million women and girls, children and newborns in Gaza are disproportionately bearing the burden of the conflict, as reported by several UN agencies and NGOs.
Hunger is a deadly threat, and more than 500,000 people are one step away from famine. Society where famine was unheard of, where malnutrition was nearly at zero. And that is despite the conditions of blockade, of Israeli occupation, and continual deprivation of that community for 17 years of blockade and of 56 years of occupation. Now picture that same person trying to get through to what is only 2 of 36 remaining hospitals that are only semi-functioning, and where, if you're lucky enough to get there as a pregnant woman, you may or may not find a doctor who isn't exhausted after 5.5 months of conflict, of working at 200 to 300% capacity, and where basic hygiene, space, medications, and supplies are nearly exhausted.
To save lives, disease must be lifted, basic services restored, and vital supplies reinstated, border crossings open to allow timely and sufficient levels of aid. Humanitarian access facilitated through Gaza to reach all civilians in need in a rapid, safe, unimpeded, and sustainable manner. This must happen now.
The scale and pace of grave violations committed against children in Gaza is unlike anything we have seen before. We know that more than 100 other Palestinian children in the West Bank have also been killed over the past 5 to 6 months. Countless children have been maimed and lost their limbs due to Israel's use of explosive weapons in densely populated areas. And Save the Children has estimated that at least 10 children per day are losing one or both of their limbs in Gaza. So we're calling on an immediate and sustainable and definitive ceasefire, and for all governments to put their weight behind a ceasefire. We're also calling on governments to stop the transfer of weapons where there is evidenced risk that they can be used to commit international crimes.
Women and children in my family have endured relentless, indiscriminate bombing that has destroyed virtually all of their homes, forcibly displacing them to evacuation camps in the south where they live in catastrophic conditions, with no access to clean water, food, electricity, and medical care. They have been surviving on canned beans and eat 1 meal per day, if at all any meals. All education of children and young adults has ceased, profoundly impairing the mental, developmental, and psychological well-being of all children of Gaza. The future implications of this complete annihilation of our social infrastructure, education in particular by Israel, unfortunately will haunt generations of Gazans to come. The lives of women and children in my family have been completely shattered, with profound and devastating consequences on their safety, psychological well-being, general and reproductive health, food security, education, and family structures.
I believe all countries standing in solidarity with Palestine understand this, and the millions of people around the world calling for a ceasefire and a free Palestine understand this. And we are grateful for every effort and for the support to the Palestinian people from every corner of the world.